Gladys from the Stocks and Crypto Stallioners, and today is the first day of August, Sunday, and I'll be going over a couple of charts with you. So first off, the SPY. So this is the S&P 500 or SPY as a ticker, and I'm looking at the daily chart. So here, overall chart, I would say on a daily, it still is going uptrend, but here is the channel that I drew. I would like to start all the way from the history. It started on the February 20th. This is before February 2020, before the whole COVID shutdown that happened. So as you could see, it rallied all the way up and maintained that price. So now, currently, we are trying to break that trend line. It has been a bumpy road for the stock market in the past 2 weeks in this case. And here, what I am looking at is that the SPY has a big support here at 437.8, 438 area. So what it needs to do is that if it stays above the 437.80 area, then we could see a potential upside to this. It still is not a downtrend, but there's a lot of sellers in the last 2 days. A lot of buyers in the beginning of the week, but then a big sell-off as well as the big tech, right? So the SPY top five is the thing family, right? So if this fails the 437.84 mark, then we could see the 437. If this fails the 437, then we could see the 435.75 to 435 levels. So, but on the upside, if you want to play calls, I would say I would wait until it breaks the 442 until we'll see the higher 445, 443 levels. But again, I think this is just a minor setback. Once the rotation of money comes back into the SPY, the FANG family, the Facebook, the Amazon, the Netflix, the Google, the Apple, can't miss that, then we should see a nice reversal on this. I suppose in terms of the momentum, I think there's still some momentum, but it is kind of weakening. But there is still no signs of reversal. So let me look. Yeah, it still is. There's no sign of reversal, and I'm still above my EMA three-day exponential moving average, and my EMA are still healthy. So, in terms of the Bollinger Band, volatility wise, I think it is not extending the band. It's probably just resting here in the 20-day moving average right in the middle of the Bollinger. Oh no, sorry, that was the EMA right here in the middle of the Bollinger. So it might reach there, but um, it still is pretty bullish. So that is good news. On the other hand, the other ETF that I'm looking at to measure the market sentiment is the Qs. So this is the Invesco QQQ Trust. This usually goes with SPY, and this is a good measurement of whether or not you're having a bullish or a bearish market. So here again, it landed on a really important support of 262.20. And if this breaks on Monday, then we could see a 358. However, if this holds above 362, then we could see a 366. Now past this important, let me go. Now past this important level, I'll go pink, then the Qs can run up to the 370 levels, like right here. Okay, I just want to see for day trading. I want to see 15 minutes. Oops, let me not do that. So in the 15 minutes, I am seeing for the momentum, it is picking up. It's not completely embedded in the negative bias, which is a good sign. As you could see in the 15 minute, which is more of like a day trading, it went below the Bollinger Band, but quickly went went back inside the band, and it is now in the middle. So that is a nice recovery. That's a good sign that it went back up from 362. So that is a very important level, as I mentioned earlier. So watch out for the spot for the cues. It's right in the middle of the 362 support and 366 resistance. There's a healthy volume too towards the end of Friday. So I'll be careful and I'll just watch for this. Okay, and then I will cover next up is Apple. All right, so Apple had an interesting run. I'm looking at the daily chart for Apple. So here I am using levels of resistance levels as well as the Fibonacci's. I think Fibonacci's work really well if you have a nice run for say a month. And so what had happened in Apple is we had this great run up from the 125 all the way to the 150s, right? And this is leading towards earnings. As you can see, a week before earnings, there's some sell off here, like down to the first Fibonacci, and then it tried to challenge the all-time high at 150 again, but it failed and got rejected. So big sell off right at the day of the earnings day. So for Apple, I would say that it needs to maintain the 145, 146 level. I like how there's this support here at the 145 level and a strong candle here. The overall uptrend is still the overall trend is still an upward trend. So what I will be looking at is if it goes about 146.50, then we should see a 150, right? And then after 150, then we could start seeing a 155. But then because earnings is over, so this might take a couple of days for Apple. Um, I would watch out for the 140 levels. So once the 140 levels break, then we could see the 135s again. But as long as Apple holds up the 145, 146 level, then I think it will try and go for the 150 and above 150 by the end of the month. So I want to look at the 15-minute mark. I use the 15-minute for day trading, and then the day chart for swing trading. Okay, so looking here at the 15-minute mark, as you can see, there is a slight change of direction. My EMA are starting to switch, so I'm gonna get rid of the Bollinger Band. I have the Fibonacci, so let me get rid of that so you guys can see it better. Okay, so that's better. Okay, so it is. So you can see right here, it is right on top of the SMA 50. So the SMA 50 can work as your support and as a resistance. And as well as it's looking like there is a nice reversal here. Going downwards, my EMAs are switching. The green and the red one are crossing. And the momentum for the 15 is slower. So I would pay attention to Apple. It might be some setback because the SPY and because of the big tech sell off. But if the money start coming back into the SPY and to the FANG family, to the Apple, the big tech family, then Apple should be fine to go hit 150 and 155. So, and then another chart that I want to focus on. So I'm just going to do 4 charts for this one, and then the next part 2, then I'll do the next 4. So it's not overwhelming for you guys. Okay, the next one is Amazon. Wow. So Amazon is interesting because unless you guys are living under the rock or not trading as much. You guys probably remember what happened after Amazon earnings report, that it dropped all the way from 36.26 down to 33.26 levels, right? So these are my old levels for Amazon, so I'm gonna try not to do that. So this is the daily. The daily, it is interesting because here in purple, this is my SMA 50. So the past 50 days, the the standard moving average, right? It went below it. So the whole time it's been on a bullish run above it. See that? So it's nice. It's there stepping. That's great. Then, however, like a couple of days towards earnings, you see this big doji candle of traders, indecisiveness of the traders, right? So the buyers and the sellers are don't know what they're do. They don't know which direction the stock is gonna go. But then the following day, it the sellers won and dropped the price down. At the same time, this also changed this reversal. This also changed the pattern where my EMA, the 3-day exponential moving average, and the 8-day moving average switched. So and um, so the 3-day and then the 2 week. So it is moving towards the bearish part, and then let me get rid of this, and then here, this is the trend line that I had in the past, in which I traced all the way from April, and it is sitting right there at the support before it closed, before the earnings. And then what happens after earnings? It broke that. It broke one, that support, this previous resistance, which is the 3500, which is critical. 3500 broke it, as well as the 3400 levels broke it. And it went below the 50 SMA. So that is very bullish. Momentum is also in the negative bias, and I can look for any trend reversal. Again, I'm not seeing any divergence right now for Amazon. I'm not seeing divergence here in the percent R. Is that correct? Percent R, percent Williams R percent. Yes, I'm not seeing any divergence here. Um, and I have a support of 3125 and a resistance of the 3500. I would just say the 3500. So it's like right in the middle of the two. I would be careful for this because I would like to see Amazon to be above the 50 SMA for me to consider that it is a reversal trend. Like I do know this is a gap down and it did go up a little bit. I think it went up for like 30 points, but I would treat this as a quick day trade for now. But if you are a long-term investor, then absolutely, I think this is a good hold. If I think this is a good hold, but for trading, I would be careful because it's not as stable yet. Here, let me draw a trend. Okay, so it is right here. I didn't even see that earlier. So it is right here. If you draw a trend line from March, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there is a support here. So that's good to know. All right. So now that we found that there's a support here, I would still be careful and trying to see if it will go past 3400. You could play this and see if you start seeing the candle. Um, if you start seeing a hammer, like a hammer would be this type of candle, like the buying candle. So let me go look at the 15 and see if I could find a. Okay, I didn't see a lot. All right. This is a considered a hammer. Like there's a lot of buyers here, but it's like a semi, but not really a strong one. But once I see like the tail longer, so that means that there's a lot of on the lower part, that means there's a lot of buying activity. But here, that is a most more like a doji candle. So if you guys could spot a hammer right around here and it start to curve up, then I would say it is trying for our first it's trying to break that. It's gonna try and go for this the SMA 50 and trying 3400. So I would say, so here I would definitely just watch this. I mean, it is a good buying opportunity for long term, but for trading, I would be careful. So 33.63. All right, so this needs to bounce off of this level, and then we could see short term gain until it breaks the SMA 50 on a daily, until it breaks the 3400 mark. Okay. So let's see if this bounces up here and see if that will break the 3400 mark. Once that happens, maybe we can start seeing a change in pattern or some divergence into your percent Williams R. Then after 34, then Amazon will probably hit the 35 and then the critical level 35.50 and back to test the 36 and the 37. Okay, so that is what I have for you. And stay tuned for part two as I will post more charts. And thank you.